This Infernal Grand Hero battle was actually a lot easier than I expected that it would be. And I finally fucking got Aether on this Ike. Thank God, I've been needing it very badly. So, because I finished Infernal in only 2 tries, I'm going to include both my first failed attempt and the completion. And albeit it might be a cop-out to be using my +4 merged Ike, I'm not going to spend any more time than necessary for me to beat it in the first place. So kind of take what you're given, so to speak, of course. So I think I'll make this more of a how to do Grand Hero battle in general rather than Robin specifically. More of a balance between the two. So I kind of brought my staple-ish team here. Julia's got Green Tomebreaker, so that gives her an advantage against most of the units on this map, which is why I brought her. Ike, obviously, because he's my best unit. Clarice, because she's got the ability to attack things, potentially double, and not get hit in return, which is very valuable. And, of course, a Dancer, because you almost always need a Dancer on these damn Grand Hero battles. I think I wouldn't have been able to do the vast majority of Infernal Grand Hero battles without a Dancer. So as you can see here, I'm just thumbing through all the units, taking a look at their combined danger areas, and trying to see what might be the best way to bait these enemies out. And there isn't really a good way for me to do it with this particular team, especially with Ike being my tank, because you would think that the top left would be the best one. But that blue mage would absolutely annihilate Ike. And I'm kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit, because the reason why I said the top left would be the best, seemingly, is because that little lance cunt in the bottom right has Lunge and would completely destroy my chances of baiting in the bottom left, because he would move 1 square over and be in range of fucking everybody. Just because you're expendable doesn't mean you can just lunge and throw your fucking life away, you cunt. Or rather, because he's expendable, he can fucking do that. Fucking little asshole. It's funny, really only the AI gets a lot of use out of abilities like Lunge. Because the AI doesn't give a fucking shit. They can lose as many allies as they want as long as they have 1 left. They don't give a shit. Whereas the player, if you lose a single AI or character, you lose a single character in the Fire Emblem series, it's basically a game resetting experience. But I'm getting a little bit off topic. So basically, with Grand Hero battles, having a Dancer on your team is very key, especially if you need like that 1 extra move on a certain character in order to secure a kill or get the right positioning. Because you can't always do that with a combination of characters. Sometimes you really just need a character to do 2 actions. Another good one to keep in mind is movement abilities. You can't... Here's a better euphemism. The best way to tank is to not even take damage at all.
Dick licker, wank fuck, cunt fucker, shit wank fuck fucker. I'm out of...
Ah, shit. Forgot about that voice clip. Damn it. I hope it still turns out okay. But yeah, if you're not even in the danger area in the first place, you won't even be taking damage. Generally, stay in the danger area only if you know for a fact you want the character to take damage in the first place. If you are in the danger area because that was the only place they could go, or they got trapped in there, or you didn't necessarily want them to take damage, you're already on the back step. Hopefully you can recover from that, but usually you can't, because then you're at a massive disadvantage and your future plans are kind of getting scribbled as we speak. So I do something similar as my first strategy. I replaced Julia because she was just a tad bit too slow and taking too much damage on defense. I went with Lynn because Clarice and Lynn have actually, I think, the exact same attack and speed stats currently, and that's Clarice with life and death. So Lynn clearly has the advantage because her A skill gives that boost beyond what Clarice can do. I know a good portion of you guys out there will have Brave Lynn because you either took her as a free summon or you ended up pulling her naturally. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who don't have Brave Lynn, but I'm pretty confident in assuming that the majority of the Fire Emblem community as a whole has Brave Lynn, especially because of the free 5-star. So by using her, she's got the mobility, she's got slightly more attack and speed, allowing her to secure a lot more kills than Clarice otherwise could. Ike, obviously being the super ultra beefcake motherfucker he is about to tank a whole hell of a lot of motherfuckers coming up in the next turn. When you're playing a Grand Hero battle, you'll want to essentially plan several steps ahead, kind of like what I just did here. I used Lynn, and then I actually had Olivia go in there to dance her away, and then get repositioned by Ike back to her original position, and then allow Ike to bait, tank, and counter. Now see, that looked really scary, and imagine how scary that looked as I was recording this gameplay. I was like, no fucking way. He is so dead. He is so fucking dead right now. But luckily, the Lance unit and the Red Mage were the only ones really able to deal any significant-ish kind of damage. Looking at the gameplay again, I actually think that even if my Ike wasn't merged, he would have survived this anyway, since he doesn't exactly have a large amount of resistance in the first place. And that Lance unit really didn't give a shit about his defense. He had the advantage all along. Luckily, by using Ike, I really don't have to worry about Robin at all. She was not an issue whatsoever. Now, this Grand Hero battle wasn't nearly as easy as Lloyd's Infernal, but I do think it takes a page out of Lloyd's book, and essentially, that extra axe unit that was put into the Infernal map actually made it slightly easier than the Lunatic one, because now that extra unit is just clogging up the choke point on the map. See, the Infernal version kind of made... it was harder and easier at the same time, oddly enough. Now I have to explain. It's because of that axe unit clogging up the choke point if you use the map the way you should. Hell, I don't even know if you could possibly even get past the choke point and take the fight to them. That would be incredibly difficult to do, I think. But the map helps and also hinders you at the same time, because it's difficult to move around in those narrow passageways, but at the same time, that choke point also keeps all of that unit spam off your back, at least for a little bit. You gotta kind of hold the line, kill them off, and, you know, just kind of play that reverse tug of war in that choke point. So hopefully, my gameplay, some of the tips I gave, help you with both this Infernal Grand Hero battle and future ones. That's pretty much all I've got to say. I didn't exactly develop a hard strategy for this one. I just ended up winning